Peace, I'm ready whenever you are. What's up, guys? Welcome again to Private Club Motors After Hours podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Tai-Wan Robinson, head trainer at official Alphaland. He's into fitness, fashion, and finance. He does a lot of cool stuff, has a bunch of cool cars, and we're here to see what he has to say to us. He's formerly known as True Apex, now known as First Gen 1. If you need to see him on Instagram, it's first_gen1. And you can follow all the crazy stuff he does, and we're excited to talk to him. I have my co-host here, Shaz, with me. He had a great time with us on our first episode, so he said, I guess I'm sticking around for all the episodes that we have coming up. So thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited. We have a ton of questions for you. Some may make you uncomfortable. I hope that's okay. But and I know Shaz will help me out with making him uncomfortable as well. No,
we're just here to be real.
Yeah,
we just want to learn something new, man. That's
honest feedback. We just want honest feedback, and there's a lot of our viewers that are watching. They want to know a lot of the different things in the fitness world, in the car world, watching PCM. Look at the way you dress. I mean, obviously you can give us some fashion sense too. I don't think I did too shabby this time. Not my Private Club Motors jersey this time, and Shaz is doing okay too. But just to kick things off, Tai-Wan, I want to just give you the stage and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I have a few questions that we'll follow up.
So I'll keep it simple, pretty quick. Moved to Houston from the Illinois area. Tell everyone Chicago, Illinois, because they're not familiar with a place called Decatur, Illinois. But I moved from Decatur, Illinois to Rockford, Illinois. From Rockford, Illinois to Houston. I've been in Houston for about 8 years now. Met some pretty incredible people. Ended up meeting the owner of Alphaland.
Nice.
Sat there for a year, kind of pitched an idea to him. I thought he was missing out on the personal training aspect. So put a business plan together, sat down with him, explained it to him, and he thought it was an amazing idea. And fast forward till now, we just moved into a $10 million, $11 million facility called Alphaland Gym, and we have about 25 trainers working for us right now. So.
And that's all you, right? Because you started that whole department of personal training. Because for those who don't know, like you just said, Alphalete or Alpha, what was the original gym called? Alphalete, right? Alphalete had it was just a gym. It was just no facilities and things like that. And, I've known Tai-Wan for a while now. I've known Tai-Wan since Lifetime days when he first moved out here. At that time, like, you can't miss Tai-Wan at the gym. The dude's like massive, man. Like, I mean, he's freak of nature when it comes to
100%.
Right. So we saw him there, and you were training there at the time.
That's correct.
From what I remember, you were training there at the time, and then you took all that to Christian, and then now.
I'll be very honest. Whenever I saw him at the gym, I ran the other way. He probably just looks mean, but I mean, after finally meeting him, he's actually a really nice guy. He comes up to Shaz's spot as well, and I've met him there a few times and really gotten to know him. He's a really cool dude, but when you're at the gym in your element, you look like a pretty intimidating guy. I mean, I'm sure you get that, which leads me to my first question. What do people misunderstand about you the most?
What do they take my quiet demeanor as that I might be mean or unapproachable.
Right.
But I'm very.
Is that the case?
That's not the case.
Not the case.
Absolutely
By nature, I'm a very quiet, observant person. See personality, so I kind of watch a lot. But I'm very quiet, and some people look at that as intimidating.
Sure.
But once you get to know me or approach me, as you can see, I'm
Tai-Wan is definitely not the quietness, man. It's everything else that's intimidating.
I'll be honest, I get the same thing. I'm a pretty quiet guy myself. Obviously, I don't have the build as you, but people still consider me very intimidating to talk to. I always talk about my dark circles. I think that's probably what it is. We're just like, man, this guy looks kind of like scary looking, whatnot. So people find me very, very intimidating, and I honestly don't understand why. I think it's usually because I have a resting bitch face. I'll be honest. People think that I don't smile, so we don't look approachable.
Yep.
But that may not be the case for most people. Shaz is the complete opposite. People just think he's the most friendliest guy, but he's actually a jerk in real life, I'll be honest.
I'm a good guy. I smile. I might be mean, but I smile.
What I'm here to tell you is if you see someone smiling, stay away. But if they're looking serious, they're the nice guys. They just don't want to be very friendly or look friendly. But other than that, what? Tell me about your journey. You said you started a whole department in a gym. We've seen the gym industry really take over in the last decade or two, where there's gyms popping up everywhere. What did you do? Tell me a little bit about your journey. You told us how you started. You presented a business plan. How did you take that from training yourself to creating a team of trainers, getting the clientele, and what was a part of your business plan that you'd like to share with us?
So I guess the best way to explain it is, when I moved here, now Lifetime was kind of like my big break. Back home in Illinois, I was a mechanical engineer for General Electric that I dabbled in personal training. And, I worked for a gym called Anytime Fitness, and we would charge $25, $30 an hour for personal training. Okay. That was pretty normal. And, it was like pulling teeth, back in Illinois. Fast forward, moved to Houston, get a job at Anytime Fitness. By the way, hardest interview I've ever been through in my life.
At Lifetime?
At Lifetime.
Oh, really?
Did not think I was going to get the job. Thought I was underqualified based off of the questions they ask you, how many people they put you in front of to sign off on you, like 2 weeks into the interview. Is
there multiple interviews that you have to go through?
It's multiple interviews over a 30-day period.
What was the hardest part about it?
Just the technical terms.
Really?
Like they teach you algebra in college, but then you don't use it in
Correct.
real life.
Of course.
Correct.
So it was like the algebra fitness. They wanted to know those questions.
So were there actual ex-trainers that were interviewing you, or was it just part of their corporate?
Part of their corporate.
So they didn't even know the training. They just knew what was on paper.
Yes.
Right.
And then the final interview, they set you down with, usually their top performing trainer in that gym.
Okay.
And, he kind of gave the final sign off. But for the most part, it's all technical stuff from people that really
Who was that trainer at Lifetime for you?
His name was Hiawatha Brown. Short guy, bald head. Okay. He's the fitness manager.
Big, really white dude. Is that him? I don't know if he's still at Lifetime.
He should be there. I think he's the fitness manager.
He might be. Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
So would you give him some credit for your first big break, or you think
at least in Houston?
I mean, he signed off on me. So at the end of the day, 100%. If he didn't sign off, I wouldn't have.
And how long were you at Lifetime for?
So I was at Lifetime for 2-3 years. Interesting thing is, once I got the job, it was a guy that approached me. My business grew really quickly because of how I looked.
Right.
All of the work and time that I put into my body, Lifetime was kind of like my stage.
See, I want to go back to that, right? That's actually very important. Let's go one step back.
Sure.
You were in fitness before you became a trainer.
That is correct.
Right? And I've seen some of your old stuff, matter of fact, his old stuff when you competed as well, right?
That's correct.
He was lean. So what made you get into that initially, and then we can come back to fitness after that, right? Like that actual professional fitness side.
So I got into fitness at 16, and I would work out every summer. The 3 months of summer I would work out, that would be it. I only did it because I wanted girls.
Yeah. Hey, that's why we do everything. I'm telling you, electricity wouldn't be invented if it wasn't for girls.
I'm just gonna remind his wife. He goes to the gym a lot now. You want to make sure why he's going.
So the thing is, I'm serious. Everything is driven by the influence of females. I don't care. Whatever you achieved, I don't care if you became a president. I don't care if you invented light or invented the new technology of the thing, or you got to the moon. It was all for that status quo, right? I'm the guy. Mm-hmm. Simple. It's just what it is.
I'm holding back comments on this one.
Hey.
Go ahead. I'm newly married, guys. Please let me live happily.
This podcast is free balling. You do what you got to
do. Okay.
So that's how I got into it. And, I became dedicated to it. It wasn't until I was 22, 23 years old where I took it serious. I actually started going to school for it, found out how I needed to eat. And I ate for my body style, and I began to grow. The company that I worked for was laying off. It was like a third or fourth layoff. I get tired of being laid off. I get tired of, somebody else having the decision when I can work. And, I got frustrated, and, one of the guys was like, maybe you should turn this into a profession. You talk about it all the time. Right. You live and breathe and eat this. Maybe you should turn it into a profession. And I started going to school, finished school. They end up laying us off for the final time. And they told us, they said, we will let some of you that have been with the company, that's been with us for a while, we will let you take 75% of your pay and all of your benefits for the next 3 or 4 months if you do a voluntary layoff. You can request more time, but there's no guarantee it's going to be approved. So I requested 9 months.
Okay.
And once they approved those 9 months off with 70% of my pay and 100% of my benefits, 30 days later I was in Houston.
Nice.
Within 30 days you were in Houston?
Within 30 days I was in Houston. I said, Taiwan, you got 8 months to figure this out.
Right.
And if I did not figure it out, there's a GE that's not too far from here that I would have applied to work
So
there.
why
But didn't
Houston?
figure it out. It was between Houston and Cali, and I didn't like the cost of living in Cali. I didn't think it offered what Houston offered, and I just thought it was a lot more friendlier. So
Did you know anyone in Houston when you moved?
didn't know. I had a friend that lived here,
Okay.
and my wife had a friend that was in real estate.
Okay.
And she said, if you guys move here, I recommend that you move to the Sugarland area.
Wow.
So she gave us our recommendation, and that's how I initially ended up at Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a story. And then from that point on, you know, at that point when you moved to Houston, were you already competing at that point, or you already passed the competing?
I
point?
was past the competing.
You already passed the competing, and then you went straight into the training
Went
side.
straight into the training side, 100%.
Now, were you only doing lifetime training, or were you doing online coaching with other outside people too?
Only Lifetime.
Only Lifetime at the time.
They started an online coaching program, which I didn't like the logistics of it, and plus I thought it was stupid at the time.
Right.
But I never got into online. It was 100% hands-on.
Hands-on, anything and everything. Now, I want to ask you this: is that a good career choice for someone that's looking to get into personal training, to work at a gym such as Lifetime, or any of the big names that are out there, like LA Fitness, 24 hours, to become a personal trainer there? Is that a good way to start your career, or would you suggest nowadays with all the social media platforms that we have available to just directly do straight to consumer?
Depends on the person.
On the person that's approaching it?
How motivated are you?
Okay.
How disciplined are you? If
Okay.
you're not disciplined, then I would recommend you start at a gym called Lifetime or Lifetime.
Right.
Which is, sink or swim there. So maybe if you can't cut it at Lifetime, then LA Fitness might be the next
Good. Go a step down.
best place for you. If
Right.
you can't cut it at LA Fitness, then 24-hour Anytime Fitness might be a place.
What makes someone a good trainer from a bad trainer? Because you said if you can't make it to Lifetime, then go to LA. So what does Lifetime trainer offer that a LA Fitness trainer
Like
can't
if two
offer?
people have like
You
identical.
have a really big smile on your face. I don't know if you're thinking of some people.
Because I know. Like easy answer is yeah.
He's like,
He's like, man, should I really just put him down like that out there right now? Because no, I get it. Like it's mostly it's about experience and knowledge, right? When it comes to training, and I personally have hired trainers in the past, couple good ones, couple that I don't even know. I thought I knew more than they did, and I was wasting my time and money. And with anytime you get a trainer, it's all about more about time than the money that's invested. Because if you're gonna make me go through these hard diets and hard workouts that I'm putting my time into 6 months later and I have zero results, it's not how much money I lost in 6 months, it's how much time I lost and the goal that I wanted to achieve. So for that matter, that's what we're asking. Like, apart from knowledge, what makes you a good trainer to be at an elite gym versus a
So I don't even put emphasis on knowledge.
Okay.
Because that's the problem with a lot of trainers.
Okay.
They went to school and they have the knowledge.
Okay.
But they're trying to take people to places that they've never been.
Mm.
So how am I going to take you to 8% body fat if you've never been to 8% body
Right.
fat? You don't know what it takes.
True.
You don't know the mental struggle. You don't know how the body feels. Do you understand what it feels like to get under 500 pounds in squat? Do you understand what it feels like to get under 500 pounds in bench press and deadlift? And do you understand what it feels like to go through muscle failure when you want to give up, but you still got 30% left in the tank? A lot of people don't know what that feels like. So when they recommend people getting in shape, they're giving them theories. And the trainer that's good has been there and they know exactly what it takes. To give you an example, I think I'm pretty well-rounded when it comes to training. I went to Florida, and it was a guy named Iron University. His name is Aldo, and he has a different style of training. He took me to a place mentally that I've never been to before. And while I'm training, I'm verbally saying, that's it. I don't have any more. I'm done. Now, this is coming from somebody that's experienced.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done. This is He was like, no, you don't. You still got 20-30% left in the tank, and this is how we going to get there. So I unlocked the new mental level.
Yeah,
right.
And the reason why he could take me there is because he's been there before.
Correct.
And he knew what it took.
Right,
so
right.
It really like opened up my mind when it came to training, and that's what makes a trainer very good, when they've put the work in and they've taken the journey themselves and they know how to get there. You can be a heart surgeon and be 300 pounds.
Right.
And tell somebody, hey, you don't change this, you're going to have cardiac arrest and you're going to die. You can't be a personal trainer at 300 pounds saying you need to lose 150 pounds. No, bro, you need to lose 150
absolutely, bro. Man, that's the harsh truth right there, man. I see trainers like that all the time, man. And I'm not even going to lie, even at Lifetime, I see trainers like that either trainers are overweight or underweight, and they're trying to train somebody to, like, and mostly they always train in like the initial people that have just started to work out, and that leaves a bad taste in their mouth.
There's one thing though. See, people like you or me or maybe Tai-Wan, we want to get big and get those big muscles.
Right.
But there's just such a large audience of people out there. Everyone's looking for a different goal.
Right.
Some people just want to be slim.
True.
I was at a point where I just wanted to bulk. Right.
Yeah.
Gained about 25 pounds in a very short period of time, but then it came to a point where I just want to look slim. I want to have a flat stomach, maybe some abs showing. And think about like the females out there, right? They're not all of them are trying to bulk. A lot of them just trying to look lean and toned. So they may not necessarily need to see a big muscular guy.
No, I'm not talking about a big muscular guy. I'm talking about a fit guy. You know what I mean? Like
You got a fat trainer?
Nah, I'm just saying, like, if I show up to the gym, at least motivate me to look at you and be like, damn, all right, he knows what he's doing.
Yes,
right? Like,
100%.
That's number one,
he's,
right?
he's gonna push me, man. Like, because like if he doesn't look at least 10% better than me, then let me train you. Like, let me get you to a goal. Like, it's simple. You know what I mean? And I get it. Like I said, and the initial people that just have started their fitness journey, and that's who you see, like older, like ladies or older men, and they're the ones that usually are getting trained by these out of shape people. They don't know from good to bad. This is the first time since they're like in their 50, 60 years that they've even seen a gym. And they start with such a bad experience that if they don't see even like the first month initial water weight gone, they're going to be discouraged. Right? Immediately. I'm like, it's not worth it for me. I'm never going to look like those young people. I'm not going to do it, Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was so shocked when you said that Lifetime has such an intensive interview process, because now I'll respect them more. Very honestly, I'll respect everyone in there now. But, I see someone like...
I have to ask him something, and this is my pet peeve. I've been at Lifetime for... I think we've been members there for almost a decade.
Yeah, more than a decade.
I paid them thousands of dollars, and I just want to know why Lifetime Sugarland management sucks so bad. And I need you to answer that question for me, because you've been...
Issa, that's a short clip that needs to go on.
The thing is, look, I'll be honest with you. I'm a Lifetime member. I'm proud of it. Lifetime has many, many, many clubs that do so well, and they are so organized. Why is it that small things... I mean, I'll be honest. I actually joined a second smaller gym just because... And I'm paying for Lifetime too. I don't know why, but I am. I went with him the other day, just a couple of days ago, and we worked out, and obviously they took one of the basketball courts out and put a pickleball court. I've never played it, so I told him, I was like, let's go play pickleball. It's 9:10 p.m., 9 o'clock with 10 minutes after, and we go downstairs and we're like, can we get some paddles? They go, sorry, past 9 o'clock we don't give out paddles. And I asked them, like, what time does the gym close? They close at 1 o'clock?
Yeah, they close at midnight and those courts close around 11.
Right. Courts close at 11. The lights are on, but they don't want to give paddles out. And I can go on about different things and issues. What is the reason behind it? Can they not handle how many people come there? Or what is it? It's okay. You don't work there anymore. You work at Alphaland. We're going to talk good things about Alphaland. Don't worry.
I'm going to preface by saying this, Lifetime gave me an opportunity, and, they taught me a structure aspect of when it comes to being a personal trainer. Okay. And I use the term personal trainer lightly. I look at it more now as a fitness professional. Okay. Lifetime gave me that professional aspect, paperwork, logistics, making sure, how to protect yourself from a legal standpoint, structure when it comes to structure and workout, nutrition, just the science behind everything. Sure. Lifetime gave me that, so I will say that. But to answer your question, Lifetime is a very cutthroat business. Like, the people that are in place are very cutthroat. I mean, they're not people they're not people persons. Like they're just
looking at numbers.
They're looking at, that's all it
It's
is.
a
They're like
corporate
robots, 100% numbers, you know. And if you don't hit the numbers, I don't care if, you know, you got in a car wreck. You couldn't show up to work for 3 weeks. That's the reason why you didn't hit your numbers. They don't care about the car wreck. You didn't hit the numbers.
That's it. Next person in line.
Next person in line. You know, and it's very cutthroat. They offered me to work for them multiple times. For the company, I said, you guys have got to be crazy. I would never put myself in that position. After watching how this operates.
But now that you're running your own operation, do you think they're doing the right thing?
Who?
Lifetime, the way that they're operating and running the show?
No.
I mean, they're obviously a very successful brand now. They're nationwide, but you don't agree with their business strategy?
It's just not for me.
Not for you.
Like, it's just not for me.
Gotcha.
You know, for some people it is. It's just not for
Sorry
me.
to ask you your first tough questions. We got about 10 more of those. No, I'm just messing with you.
Now, see, that's all right though, because you know, like between me and him, you know, we both operate businesses. You know, we're both partners in both, but we both have our own operations, right? And we both have a very different style of running businesses. That's why we decided to do it this way, is because when we were working together, his approach to certain things were way more aggressive or harsher than mine, and vice versa. Like in certain situation where I was harsher, he would be like, no, that's not where you know. So that's okay. Like there's different ways of succeeding in your own business, and you can have your own approach, right? You can have your own style, your own approach, your own empathy, and your own relationships in your business. And you know, that's just part of who you are, and that's who you're gonna represent at your own business per se, right?
And all of that I'm okay with. What I'm not okay with is when you set somebody up to fail because
Yes.
you want that position that person is in.
See, now that
have you encountered that?
It's possible.
yeah. So that's that. See, that's management.
We're warming
issues.
up, ladies and gentlemen. We're warming up. Okay. I want to know about your biggest failure and what you learned from that experience, because, you know, being in the social media era now, you know, what you do may look like rainbows and unicorns and this guy has it all, you know, he did everything. I just personally learned about your journey and how you just jumped ships and came to Houston and just happened to land the right opportunity. Tell us about your biggest failure and what you did to overcome it and what you learned from it.
So my biggest failure would not be anything as far as fitness related.
Okay.
My biggest failure to me in life would be I went through a divorce.
Okay.
That was, to me, like if I look back over life and I look at everything, I would say that would probably be the biggest failure in my life. You know, not the actual going through the actual divorce process, but the outcome of the divorce process
Okay.
was to me the biggest failure.
Are you talking like financially, emotionally?
Everything. Like I used to, like when I worked for GE, and you hear these guys that went through divorce talk about the divorce and how it like mentally messed them up, or physically, you know, they would have all of these issues. You know, one guy, my brother went through a divorce and he took his motorcycle and like ran it into a tree drunk.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, bro, what's going on? And he's like, you just don't understand the mental weight that comes with this. And, you know, I'm like, bro, just do what you got to do. Divorce should be easy. And then I went through divorce. And that is probably the hardest thing I've ever been through in my life, physically, mentally, financially, everything. It got to the point, at the lowest point of the divorce, I was sleeping in my home on a pile of clothes, and all I had was a 65-inch TV that was built into the wall. It was too big for her to take. So all I had was my clothes in the middle of the floor and a 65-inch TV.
You sound like every other bachelor guy. That's all you need. You don't need furniture. You just need a big old TV on the wall. And
like
you're good.
literally took everything.
That's
Canned
crazy,
food,
man.
Spoons, forks.
Wow.
Everything out the refrigerator. Like literally bed, couches, end tables, everything. All the money. Like it was probably the biggest failure and loss to date, you know.
Now let me ask you this. Could you have avoided it?
No.
There was no way to avoid
There
it.
was no
It was something that had to be done, right? And now that it was done, what did you do to overcome it when you woke up the next day on your clothes, watching your 65-inch TV that was still there?
I couldn't watch it. She turned the cable off.
What did you obviously you went through an emotional roller coaster, but what did you do to overcome it and come out of it stronger than before?
So not so much what I did. It was more so I understood the motive behind why everything was done. It was to make sure that I never got up again. You know, because when I requested the divorce, you know, she said, if you don't stay with me, I'm going to make sure you lose everything and have nothing.
That setup for failure.
So
thing, yeah.
me understanding that, you know, I had to like drill into my head that you're going to overcome this no matter what. And that's what my motivation was.
Well,
That's very interesting, man. That's a deep thought. That's a motivational drive that you can't create. It has to happen by situations and life itself. Like, it has to get you in that bottom hole of everything, where you know that everybody will be happier to see you fail than to succeed.
Yep.
Right. And that drive itself, that's something that I've been through something similar to what you're saying. So that drive itself is just insane. At that point, you do not care if you're going to sleep. You do not care how many hours you're going to put in. You know, people count, oh, I've worked 60 hours, man. It's been a tough week. No, at that point, you don't care how many hours you're going to put in. All you know is you see that goal, and that's all you see. And you're like, that's where I'm going to be.
You got to get
so there. I need to be there. You know, I don't care how long or half-ass or whatever I need to do. I just need to get there so I can look back at everybody that wanted to see me fail and just be like, you know what? Here I am. And I don't got to gloat. I don't want to gloat about it either. I don't want to be up there and be like, oh, I'm the biggest man out there. I did it. No, I just want to be there so you can now see that you did everything in your power to pull me back, but now I'm here. You know what I mean?
So do you credit your failure for your success today?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
That's good to hear. And I want most of my audience to hear that, because we have a lot of, you know, young entrepreneurs that, you know, may try a thing or two and they fail and they think that it's not meant for us or we can't do this. I don't think people really understand, and this is talked about all over social media, but I guess, like you said, unless it happens to you, unless you don't experience it, it won't register. And I just want people that are watching to know you're going to fail.
That's true.
You're going to fail. Like, it's
sure.
a part of the process. You're going to fail, and you have a living example in front of you. All three of us, actually. I'm sure we failed in our own ways in different areas of our lives, but it's about how you come out of it and, you know, show your success from it. Use that as a motivation to come out and, you know, succeed in something that you're looking to do.
I mean, I've heard someone say this, and it's the best example ever given. Success is failure's neighbor. You know what I mean? They live right next to each other. And after every failure, if you don't get up and move forward, you'll never succeed. It's just very, very simple.
I want to know, you know, for most trainers that I've met or known in my life, most of them seem to be like morning guys. They love to wake up early in the morning, and whether they're training, whether they're eating, or whatever they're doing. Are you a morning person yourself?
I am not, but, you know, I adapt.
What does your morning routine look like?
So I'll get up, and, you know, I'm a big advocate on making your bed in the morning. Like, I heard a guy say, if you can't make your bed, if you can't conquer that one thing in the morning,
sure,
it's going to be hard to conquer everything else in life, because making your bed should be extremely simple.
Correct.
And
it's the first task you complete.
And if you if you can get the discipline to get up and do that every day, then you'll have the discipline to do everything else that you need to do. So I'll do that. I'll usually meditate for like 10 or 15 minutes, do some stretching, you know, have some jasmine tea or ginger with some turmeric. And then typically I'll like to do cardio. I'll go upstairs, turn YouTube on, do a little cardio, and then shower, eat breakfast, and then start my day.
What does your breakfast consist of?
Egg whites.
How many?
10 servings of egg whites, which is about 50 grams of protein.
Is that about 10 eggs?
Yeah, it's about 10 eggs.
Okay.
I'll put 40 grams of blueberries in it, maybe 3 servings of oats, a little stevia for a flavor, blend it up, drink it down.
Big smoothie.
It's really disgusting, but I'm sure it's very useful, and I'm sure it's very healthy. You're showing that to us. In addition to all of that, how much are you eating? Are you still counting your calories? Like, you know, most trainers will tell you got to count this, and you know he's big in fitness right now too, and you know I'll see him at home. Are you still counting your calories?
So I'm not counting calories anymore. You know, it's just like secondhand nature at this point.
Sure.
I know how my body responds. I know when I need to eat, what I need to eat, you know, so I've been doing it for so long, it's pretty normal versus somebody coming in, like they don't know.
Right.
You know, sometimes they eat too much. Sometimes they don't eat enough because they haven't created that routine to allow their body to get used to it. So we use that as the structure until it just becomes a lifestyle.
So it is normal for us to be counting our calories.
Absolutely.
And everyone needs to be doing that to kind of have an idea of whether they're gaining or losing. Go ahead.
But like he's saying, right? So as a trainer, he's around it all the time. So he can literally, look at an apple and he doesn't have to think about it. It is his second nature going, hey, that's
this many
calories.
And this will take care of
this is going to take care of this that I need to complete today, right? And for me now, so I did about, almost like 6 months of just calorie counting, counting your macros, eating exactly what I need to do to get to the percentage and everything. So, in the beginning, you're right. It was really, really tough. And it was just like you're saying, it was getting almost like, especially with work and, everything else that we have to do throughout the day. It's like, man, I got to count this. I got to count that. So the easiest way to overcome it at that time was make everything uniform, right? So you're eating the same thing every day.
Yep.
Simple. I don't have to count anymore, right?
Gotcha.
I know, okay, I'm going to have that piece of chicken every day. I'm going to have this much rice every day. I'm going to have this much veggies every day.
Which is why it becomes so boring and redundant.
It becomes really boring in the beginning, right? And then eventually, as you're like, you have your refeed days, for example, right? That's that extra calorie day, one day in the week. And so I was eating something extra in there. See, now when I was having that extra meal, it started to register. That's how much that calories is, right? So now I know that I can eat that much, and that's what that counted for. So eventually, over time, you just know, okay, my body can take this much food without getting fatter. Right. Or I need to add about 10 or one more meal of this to start gaining weight, 1 pound a week. Right. So you start to learn your body. See, so that's something that we should have done a very long time ago. Unfortunately, we just do it when we become so dedicated. Like, now I want to get fit. Right. And if we had done this at early ages, like when he started, I think we would have looked completely different as of today. Right. We wasted about almost 10 years of our prime life when our T's are boosted and, we are building and we're like, like Iron Man at that time, bro. You can go hurt yourself and be fixed the next day. Right now I have a shoulder injury that I don't even know how it happened, so so it just becomes very, very easy eventually. You just know your body, how how many calories you need in a day, and, that's the silver lining. If you start doing it, it will become easier. It won't always be boring.
I want to transition out of fitness, but I have one question to ask about fitness, which is a very important question for a lot of our viewers. Steroids, right? And I'm sure you get asked that question all the time. I'm sure you may take it as a compliment sometimes if people ask you, but I'm going to ask you.
Ask me.
Have you ever taken steroids? And regardless of what your answer is, do you know people that have taken steroids? Because it's become very common now. At least from what, I don't know if I've just grown up now and I'm seeing it more, but there were people that I used to see in the gym that were in top physique, right? I mean, I'm talking, I thought I'd never get there. And I've come to learn that some of those people were actually on steroids, which actually really put me off of fitness. Quite honestly, I was a very big gym head, since middle school days. I mean, I was at the gym 3 hours a day, doing a lot of things. I didn't get to the point where I ever wanted to be, but I saw other people getting there. And then when I find out that they got there, I find it, that they cheated. For me, it's like a cheat code. And similarly, when I was in college, people used to take Adderall. I used to find that as a cheat code. I'm like, well, they're cheating. What's your take on steroids? First, have you ever taken any? Have you ever tried them? Tested them out? Let's hear it.
Cool story. I started training when I was 16. I took something called a pro hormone. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Like HGH?
No.
Okay.
It was called Superdrol at the time.
Oh, Superdrol. Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. So, but I'm telling you, at 16, I started training. By the time I took Superdrol, I was 25, 26 years old.
Okay.
So I had been training for 10 plus years.
Wow.
100% all me.
Right.
And I was roughly maybe I was 155 pounds when I started training. 10 years later, I was probably 215 pounds.
Wow.
So this guy that I worked for a supplement company. He said, have you ever heard of this product called Superdrol? I'm like, what is it? He was like, it's like a test booster. It's supposed to help you gain size.
Right.
Completely oblivious to
right.
Didn't know it was a pro hormone. Didn't know anything about that.
Okay.
I thought everything was protein and creatine.
Right.
Like, I used to read Muscle and Fitness, Muscular Development, Flex magazine. Those were on subscription. I would get those all the time. I didn't realize drugs was involved into bodybuilding until I was 10 plus years deep in the
Right.
fitness. So this guy gave me this bottle of Superdrol, and I took it. He said, take 2 pills a day for the first week, take 3 pills a day for the next week, so on and so forth. 12 days into taking this. I get on the scale. I am 245 pounds.
Wow, in 3 weeks.
In 12 days.
Holy.
You gained 30 pounds?
I am 245
Holy
pounds.
shit.
Wow.
And I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, what is going on? Like this cannot be my body. And I went the next 30 days. It's a 30-day. You only supposed to take it for 30 days. I hit 255 pounds in 30 days. So I didn't realize what was going on until later on. But after I got off, and I stopped taking it, my nipples start hurting. Didn't realize what was going on. I'm like, bro, he's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, you got to take something. It's called it was made by Gaspari. It's called 6-0XO. It was like an estrogen blocker, and it was supposed to get your test levels back on. Well, I didn't realize the pro hormone turned my test levels off.
Right.
So for a month, I did not want to have sex.
Yeah.
And my wife thought I was cheating on her, and I couldn't explain to her what was wrong with me.
Don't tell me that was the reason behind the divorce.
No.
Because you had to bring that bottle to her. This is it.
Bro.
So I'm going through this whole deal, and I couldn't explain, what was going on, and I figured it out. The guy kind of gave me some information. I was a little pissed off about it, but I dove into the whole pro hormone, steroid, testosterone, because now I wanted to understand it.
Right.
Because something was going on with my body that I could not explain.
Correct.
So when you hear people say, and I said all of that to say this, when you hear people say, I've never taken anything, and then if they have the training background and you start taking steroids, pro hormones, testosterone, and you've been training for 10 or 15 years, you are going to blow everybody out the water really, really quickly, because you gave your body a chance to grow on its own. Most of these guys won't do that. At 18, they're
already
plugging
putting it in.
them.
Right.
Like, you don't even know what your body's capable of.
Right. They haven't maximized the natural yet.
100%.
Right.
They don't maximize. So
Right.
then, they'll hit a growth spurt. Some of them got the genetics to where they just take off and grow, but most people, they might gain 10 or 15 pounds, and then they get acne all over their back.
Correct.
You'll see that.
Yeah. Right.
And they just introduced it too quick to their body. So then when you take somebody like myself, I walk around, even if I ate 3 meals a day, my body is going to hold on to 250, 255 pounds. That's just what it's going to be. And they'll see me, and I was like, there's no way. You're not. I'm taking steroids, and I'm 185 pounds, and you're walking around at 255.
Natural.
So I know you're taking steroids,
Right.
and that's just not the case. So that's my long and short answer to that.
Do you consider steroids cheating?
I don't consider it cheating.
Okay.
It all depends on.
Do you think it's a supplement?
No, it's not. Definitely not a supplement.
Okay.
When I hear people say cheating,
Yes.
like if they say, all right, you're going to get on the bodybuilding stage, you're IFBB pro, you're taking steroids, that's cheating. No, it's not, because everybody on the stage is cheating.
Right. Everybody. It's a level field. It's a level field.
Playing field.
Right.
So, but if you're on the stage and it's supposed to be natural and you have 2 people taking steroids, then yes,
Makes sense.
that's cheating, but they hide all of that. So that's how people look at it as bad. But I'm an advocate of TRT. It's called testosterone replacement therapy.
Correct.
The reality is, I train a lot of older men,
Gotcha.
and then naturally your test levels drop.
Correct.
I've had a guy come in and he just could not lose weight. He just could not put lean muscle tissue on. He ate, he trained, and he couldn't figure out why, and he got discouraged. I said, why don't you go check this place out, get your blood done, and come back. Came back, he had test levels of a 12-year-old schoolgirl.
That's the best way to put it.
That's why you're not improving.
Right.
So they gave him replacement therapy to get his test levels where they're supposed to be at, and his body just
reacted.
took off.
So there are some people that actually need this drug.
Yes, 100%.
For their healthy reasons, right?
Yes.
So okay, well that answers my question.
See,
right?
that not
You give
even.
a lot of clarity.
Yeah. Well, see, there's again nowadays. You asked a very direct question just to steroids. Nowadays, man, there is so much out there, legal, illegal. I just recently heard about, I think it's called IF1. Is that what it's called?
It sounds like
Is that something like that? It's I was reading up on it. Again, it's something that's supposed to be supplemental to, get you growing again, get your testosterone boosts are higher. Like, you can call it all natural you want, but now this is just a way around the other stuff. There's like SARMs were around for very long time. I know so many people that used it. That was just, boosting their testosterone to the next level. So, and when it comes to just steroids, like you said, do you consider it cheating or not? Man, from what I know, I've never touched it. I've never seen it. I don't know. But from what I know and the people that have spoken to me about it, it's not as easy as it seems. Just being on steroids won't build you up. You can't just be sitting on your, butt and eating Cheetos and watching TV and just taking steroids and you're going to look like an amazing, Mr. Olympia. It's an enhancement, but there's a lot of work that goes behind it is what I'm trying to tell you. It's like you still have to put your work through it. But yeah, you can unnaturally grow faster now. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's what it is.
And then you'll hit a limit. Like, it'll help. It's supposed to help you, but that's when all the pieces are in play.
Right.
So, if, let's say you got two people that weigh 200 pounds, one of them eats twice a day and works out 2 or 3 times a week. And then you got the other one that works out 5 days a week and he eats 6 times a week. That person right there now has the raw materials. Like I say all the time, you can't build a pyramid without any bricks.
Right.
This person has the raw materials. They're naturally going to scale past the other person because the other person is not putting the same level of work in. So it'll help you, but at the end of the day, if you don't do the work, you're gonna hit a wall real quick.
You're training at Alphaland now, and it seems to be one of those. I personally like to call it an influencer gym.
Yep.
I mean, everyone's out there with their cameras and recording it and whatnot. Do you think that social media has increased the exposure on steroids so people can, be able to look more Instagrammable or more, what's the word I'm looking for?
People that are there?
Yeah, more aesthetically pleasing for the camera, more so than, just being in the gym and looking like the biggest guy in the gym. Do you think that has a big big role in it?
100%, just especially with Photoshop, that's a big role in this influencer, being on social media. A lot of pictures were Photoshopped, so then you have people looking at unrealistic bodies.
Facts. That's a big one.
So now they're like, how do I get a waist that small and a back that wide? And, there's no way I can do it naturally. So if that person looks like that, then I need to go get some help,
Right.
And that person could very well look like that because they have some help and they have Photoshop. So I think social media has expanded fitness in a good way because it has given it so much more exposure, but with that comes, the need to have this perfect image.
Correct.
And create this perfect look, and there is no perfect look.
Look.
So it has people chasing and look that they'll probably never attain. So then they can't even appreciate that you used to be 180 pounds, 32% body fat.
Yeah.
And now you're 150 pounds at 14% body fat.
That's facts,
and you can't appreciate it because this person looks like a Greek statue.
Now, you as a trainer, you're dealing with a lot of clients that are looking at bodies on social media that want to look like that. How do you overcome their request of, well, Tai-Wan, I've been doing this 6 months with you. I paid you this much money to make me look like this, and I still don't look like this person. How do you overcome that?
Day one, before I sign them up and we do anything, I let them know this is lifestyle. Like, what I teach you and show you is something that you can utilize every day.
Gotcha.
This is going to create longevity. 9% body fat, you can't do that. That's not something you can do every single day, 365 days a year. I'm going to teach you how to be healthy. I'm going to teach you how to be mobile. I'm going to teach you how to move and be flexible. Right. And this is something that you can carry on for the rest of your life. 8% body fat, 9% body fat. Unless you want to do a show, we can get you there.
Right.
But that's when you're at your weakest. Bodybuilders are at their weakest when they're on the stage. It has been bodybuilders that have taken their body fat percentage down so far that they died on stage.
Oh my God.
So a lot of people want to have that shredded, ripped look, but the reality is our bodies aren't designed to walk around.
To not have any fat on your body.
It's very unhealthy.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, I want to get away from the fitness. I know Taiwan's.
I want to get to some of the business aspect.
Yeah,
of
I want to get to the business aspect. But before that, I had a lot of complaints from our first episode where they said, "This is PCM after hours." When the hell are you going to start talking?
Oh,
about
in that case, you can just ask Tai-Wan everything that he's owned.
Yeah, no, I know. That's where we're exactly about to go. Yeah. And Tai-Wan's a big car enthusiast. I've seen some of his cars. He just came in a sick AMG GT outside, and I want to know about your car collection. You listed them out to me right now, and he has a pretty cool collection. And tell me where this hobby of cars comes from, and what your dream car is.
So currently I have 2 Tesla Model S's. My wife has one. Funny story, somebody keyed her car.
Ooh.
She had an older Tesla, and somebody keyed her car, and she was very upset about it. And I told her about a feature called Century on the new Teslas.
Correct.
And she wanted a new Tesla, so we went out and found her a Model S with the technology
How
package.
long ago did you buy this Tesla?
I bought this Tesla maybe a year ago.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man, because the values just dropped on it.
I'm okay
Big
with
time.
that.
For my listeners that are listening, we were actually planning on turning this whole dealership as of last year to a full Tesla dealership. We're going to have nothing but Teslas in here because we thought that was the future. And all the manufacturers came out and said, screw Tesla, we're all going to make our own electric cars. And I'm going to let you finish your thought. I'm sorry to intrude here. And luckily we didn't, because as of 2 weeks ago, the news came out that Tesla slashed their prices.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the models going down about 20% in value. Matter of fact, since that news came out, I think every person that owns a Tesla has inquired with us if we would buy their Tesla. And they definitely don't like the answer or the offer that we give them, because it's a lot lower than what we were giving them last year or a couple of months ago.
Last year, 3 weeks ago, we were giving them.
We were giving high offers, and the way Elon Musk came out and slashed all these prices, it's created a really big ruckus in the Tesla market. As a Tesla owner, do you care?
No.
Do you still love your Tesla?
Yes.
What do you love about it?
And I'm going to tell you why.
Yes.
Because when I bought my Tesla, at the time I bought it for a fair price. It was what it was.
Gotcha.
So if Elon drops the price 10 grand, there's nothing I can do about that.
Right.
But the reality is I bought it because, one, it has significantly decreased maintenance costs. It has significantly decreased what we were paying for gas.
Sure.
My wife used to have a Porsche Cayenne S, and she was paying $600-700 a month for that. With the Model S, it's gone. We don't have to deal with that anymore. We got a supercharging station by the house. We got chargers put in the garage. So it's just, the maintenance is almost non-existent, So I 100% love the Tesla. I cannot see myself owning, for everyday car, I couldn't see myself owning another gas-powered car.
That's crazy. I hear that from every Tesla owner, and every guy says that.
I'll be honest, yeah.
And he said that to me.
I owned a Tesla. I had a Model 3 Performance at one point, and I will not lie to you. The first 2 days I had that car, I hated it. It was the worst experience of my life. That one had autopilot, all the features fully loaded. 1 week into that car, I was in love with it. And I don't think, I mean, he used to look at me, he's like, bro, what are you driving? This thing looks like a piece of shit.
Because,
it looks like, and
we're car guys, we drive luxury cars and like the fastest cars and the loudest cars and all that. And then you bring a,
he's lying. It doesn't even make that sound because there is no sound.
You know what I mean? Like,
no sound.
So when I got in it, and I, for the first time, I was like, because he was vouching for it, so I was like, I want to drive it. And I driven the Model X. That's the one with the flying doors, right?
Yeah.
Model X. That was the best one there. I was like, all right, let's drive that first, right? So I drove it. I legit felt like I was driving a golf cart, and that's just my feel. Every time I press the gas pedal, so
gear,
and it's amazing what it can do. No lie, like the ludicrous mode, it is insane, like absolutely insane. Never felt anything like that, but I just felt like that was a gimmicky, like a thrill ride. You know what I mean? Like a little roller coaster.
Right.
You can enjoy that for 30 seconds. I mean, you're not gonna do that every 2 seconds.
Right.
So, but then I want to say, like, every person that I've met that lives with their Tesla, they all say I can never change back to a normal car again, because you know what? The convenience of that car is so convenient to have that autopilot, all the technology that car helps you with, like especially people that drive long.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing anything. I'm on my phone, and that car's driving.
Right.
So
I mean, it has a lot of features, but more so than anything, I like to compare Tesla to an iPhone. Why is it that we keep buying iPhones every year when there's really not much changing? We're so used to this user-friendly interface.
That's what it is.
I think the Tesla, when Elon Musk created this car, he created an iPhone for cars. You walk to the car, it opens the door for you, it closes the door for you. You don't have to start the car, you just put it into gear, it goes. I mean, I'm talking, you're not really doing anything. what he is trying to, I think, implement in the market is that car, for us, when we think cars, we're thinking luxury and it needs to have this leather and that. In his mind, I think the way he's thinking is
simplify it.
This is just a thing to commute, to take you from point A to point B in comfort.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have your ACs in there. You have all the basics that you need in there. You don't need the wood trim in there, or you don't need this, panoramic sunroof, even though some of them have it. But Teslas, I think they what they created was a great phenomenon. I do think they're gonna fall behind. This is my personal opinion, just because of so many other EVs coming out. Like the Audis and the Mercedes coming out with them.
I don't think so.
No, really,
No.
really.
No, I'll explain to you why.
Go ahead.
Most people look at Tesla. It was like their car. They make trash cars. Tesla's not a car company.
They're not a car.
They're
company.
not a car
Tesla's a
company. Tech company.
that makes cars.
Correct.
That's what they are. When I was sold on Tesla, is when Elon found out that the Taycan was faster than his top performing Model S car.
Mm-hmm.
He told his engineers, "Hey, we got to fix this." They reworked some software. Then they uploaded it. I woke up and the Model S we had before had a 50 horsepower increase.
That's
like,
right, man. That's insane. That is crazy.
Like you
that
go
is
to
truly
sleep,
crazy.
You wake up with an update and your car's faster.
Right,
Wow.
right.
I'm like, so what's it's just, to me, I was mind blown. At that point, I was a Tesla fanboy. And then why I feel like Tesla's not going anywhere is because, you got a lot of car companies that make, like, to me, the Taycan is a dope car.
Yeah, it is a beautiful car.
But the reason why I would not go buy a Taycan over the Tesla Model S is because Tesla has a supercharging network that no other car company is going to be able to catch.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I agree with. They're dedicated to just EVs, right?
Yeah.
Tesla is dedicated to just electric cars versus all these other companies. They're still gas company cars that are making an EV to compete with Tesla,
just
right?
to compete or keep them out of the market.
This is what I see happening. A lot of these car companies are not going to, because they got to move so quickly, they may not have the time and the resources to do the research, the R&D.
Correct.
So what I can easily see happening, especially with the supercharging stations, how do I create an electric car and not have to build a whole station out? Well, how about I use Tesla's platform and put my car on top of it?
Correct.
And then now they utilize his supercharging network and his platform.
Right.
I think they're also going to be using his autopilot. So as Teslas are driving around, they're actually collecting data.
Correct. So they're actually a data collecting company.
Correct.
On top of a tech company,
Yeah.
which was. This was a perspective, was that thought process behind that is amazing, that he's collecting data that no one has yet, because there's so many cameras in a Tesla and so many sensors that it's picking up every road, every sign, every, like little nick and knack on the road.
Everything. Even
Tesla's
like
going to own all that.
orange cones that are on
Right.
the road.
Yep, it picks it all up.
Yeah, so
Similarity.
Tesla's going to own all that data, and then other companies are going to have to buy that data from him.
Moving on from Teslas.
Okay.
Tell me about the rest of your lineup.
So then I have a Jaguar XF. I want to sell it, but I like having a backup gas car. So if something was to happen, I got a car that I can jump in and take off. So I think I'm going to keep that.
Just an extra car.
And then I have the AMG GTS, which I am absolutely in love with that car.
I am absolutely in love with that
Same,
car myself.
man.
I've actually
That car is beautiful.
owned one as well, and I think just the lightweight on that car and the way it takes off. I mean, everything about that car. It looks aggressive.
The
you've
looks.
driven it,
Oh
and-
man,
and
I love that
I
thing.
think you were in love with that. He was actually going to get one himself.
Yeah,
before he
I
got the
love that
911. But GTS, I mean, it's one of the top of the lines, and I don't think it's going away anytime. And we see them a lot here at PCM, and we've sold so many of them. We've traded many. And it's definitely one of the top of the line.
It's the way it just looks like a Hot Wheel. You know what I mean? Like those cars that you imagine, like in future, that one day I want to have that toy. It just looks like that toy. You're sitting on the back tires, literally, on that car.
Now I know one thing about Tai-Wan. He never keeps any car stock.
Never.
No.
I've seen his Tesla as well. It does not look like a normal Tesla. So if you think they're just basic cars, his doesn't look basic. So tell me about your hobby behind cars and give me some more on that.
I don't really know how I got into cars. It just kind of like happened. But a little background about myself. When I buy a car, it usually takes me about 4 to 6 months to buy a car.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I want to look and see what's available out there. Like, what's the body kits, what's the rims, what's the modifications. And I do all of this research on the car, and then I come up with a price list of what it costs to turn that car into that.
Okay.
And then if it's 3 or 4 cars that I'm choosing from, I do that with every car. Okay. And then I'll sit down and weigh out pros and cons, and based off of the pros and cons of each list is how I would make my purchase. So I was looking at the McLaren 570S. I was looking at the C8 Corvette. I was looking at the Audi R8. I was looking at the Gallardo, and I was looking at the AMG GTS. And the AMG just beat everything out flying colors.
In terms of modding it out.
Modding it out, the performance you get per dollar, looks, exclusivity. Sure. You don't see a lot of AMG GTSs rolling around.
Right.
And, it just won. I really enjoyed the McLaren, but the wing that I wanted for the McLaren was like $7,000 by itself. Damn. It was just like I don't want to spend this much on a car, then have to dump another 50 or 60 grand into the car.
Gotcha.
Whereas when I got done pricing out the AMG, I figured it was going to cost me about 35 grand to fully customize the car. But once it's done, you'll never see another.
So your reason, I'm one guy. I mean, I'm notorious for this, and people hate me for it. But when I'm purchasing a nice exotic car, I don't want to touch it. And I don't want to touch anything in it. I don't want my warranty. I don't want my warranty voided. I'm just that guy. Call me what you want, but for me, I owned a C8 myself, and I've had people that told me, add a spoiler, add this kit, or do this. Matter of fact, my own little brother, he's 18 years old. He just got his first Infiniti Q60, and we got parts at our house yesterday.
Parts showing up every day.
I mean, he's gotten like spoilers and skirts and diffusers and whatnot. And I'm actually quite excited to see what he does with it, because it seems like modded cars has a really big audience and a really big market that we haven't really touched ourselves here at PCM. The most we'll do is, do the blackout packages on the cars, where black out the wheels, black out the badges and whatnot, just make them look cosmetically, modded. But we have seen engine mods. Like, we've had GTRs in here where they've modded these cars to where they're running like 1,000 horsepower and whatnot. Personally speaking, I've driven those cars too modded, mechanically modded. I do feel like it loses the integrity of what the manufacturer desired it for, but I want to hear your opinion since you're actually modding yours.
So when you say integrity, what do you mean?
So the way the car was supposed to sound, or the way the car was supposed to perform, or the way it was supposed to handle, right? So a car is made on a chassis, and that chassis is supposed to be able to handle a certain X amount of horsepower before it backfires on you. When I say that, it could either slip or, you get some of those malfunctions that could come up. You may have a light in your dash. You may have a check engine light. That's my biggest pet peeve. I can't have any lights in the dash. But for the people that do like to mod them, and Infiniti market's huge for modding cars, I want to know the reasoning behind. Do you feel like you want yours to be one of a kind, or do you think you're going to make your car better than the manufacturer intended it to make? What is your take on that?
So, yes, I do want it to be one of a kind. And two, let's take the Mach 4 Supra.
Okay.
Like how it came out of the factory.
Yes, sir.
Without doing any internals, you can take that car to 800 to 1,000.
Facts.
Correct.
Yep.
And it handle it. No
right. That car was meant to handle it.
Beautifully run.
Right.
And I look at the same thing when it comes to the AMG. Okay. Like, all they've done was Blackwing, and then they go down to the Pro Series, and then they go down to the GTR, GTC, GTS. All they did was really like detune and swap in, suspension might be a little stiffer, you might have a little bigger brake.
Gotcha.
So, but the base of the car, like, it can handle the mods that you throw at the car. So I took this car from stock was maybe 510, it's probably sitting at 640, 660, 650 right now. And it is a different car. Right. Like, it is. I got in and drove it on the feeder road, and like I could do nothing but smile. I'm like, this is amazing, nice. And to know that all I had to do was pay somebody $2,000, and they just like go in, and it's not like they went into the internals of the engine.
Correct. They didn't change the components. They tuned it. Right.
Tuned, and it made the car come alive. So I understand that a lot of these cars can handle these upgrades. Sure. The reason why you don't have them is because you chose not to pay the extra money for the GTC or the GTR.
So you're pretty much doing what the manufacturer was going to do anyway.
Yep.
Are you doing it at a dime? What's the word? you're doing it at a low cost, right?
At a lower
And-
cost.
Yeah, gotcha. Makes sense. We've actually, sorry, I'm gonna point out Val. He's watching us right now. You remember the GT we had, the white one with yellow accents. That had about, I think, a stage 2 tune on there, I believe. 800, 900 horsepower. I actually driven a GT with about 900 horsepower. It was a scary ride.
That's crazy.
It was a scary
no,
ride.
no, that thing felt like it was trying to kill me.
No,
Yeah, legit.
literally.
That's what it felt like.
And I actually drove that car.
Yeah.
And it was a buddy of mine who owned it, and he bought it to sell the vehicle. And, you know, I have driven something of that sort, and to me, it's frightening. But I get it. I mean, the thrill is still there. And don't get me wrong, I actually took that car out to one of the meets to do we had a car meet with a bunch of our guys. I think it was at Team Savage. And it stood out. I mean, there was a lot of GTs there, but that particular one, everyone came and took pictures with, and it got.
We also had a couple of GTRs that were tuned out of their minds.
Yeah, we've
right.
seen a lot of GTRs.
And those GTRs, every time I was one of the diehard fans of GTRs when they came out. Speaking of new GTRs, I don't know if you saw, they came out with the 2023 GTR, and the whole community is lost it. They're like, screw this, because you haven't changed the damn car.
Nothing has changed.
They haven't changed the damn car in like and they keep showing us these new concept cars of GTRs that look amazing, and then they bring out the same one
thing,
again, right?
Same thing. The interior
But
hasn't changed.
the interior hasn't changed. It's so outdated. I mean, that just sucks. I absolutely am a diehard fan of GTRs, right? And
But it's not up to its time anymore. I think it's
that's the thing, right? So by the time now that I'm at an age where I can afford these cars, I don't even consider that car anymore, just because of that reason. First, it's outdated, and when I've driven those modded ones, and I'm telling you, these guys put some money into modding these cars.
Yep.
And when I drove that thing, I didn't like how it sounded. I didn't like the rattles, right?
Yeah.
Like I just don't like it. And like if I want to be in a performance car like my 911, when I drive that thing is hugging me like this. Like I am not scared. I am doing things that I should never be doing on the road, but it's okay because I know I can do it right now. You know what I mean? Same thing with the GT. Like when we drove that GT,
fully in your
man,
control.
you are in control, and that back is right there. So if I'm cutting someone really close, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of things that I'm looking for in these cars now. Like this is the car. It's the mechanical ingenuity of this thing that amazes me.
Yep.
Is what excites me now versus just. Oh man, I saw this. Paul Walker drove it, and I was a big fan, so I want it. No, it's not that anymore. I want to be excited for that car that I am, but also I want to give you another example. Val Supra. I wasn't a fan of Supra because the whole BMW 3 Series thing, but Val Supra, like it's modded in the perfect and the classiest way. It's all blacked out with some really nice things on it. I know. You can say what you want.
No. I have some great things to say.
Okay, because
I have some great things to say.
I know this might grind a lot of car guys.
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
His Supra is parked outside of Private Club Motors every single day.
Right.
He's at work every single day. The amount of times, I mean, we've had Lamborghinis parked out there. We've had R8s parked out there. Porsches, 911 turbos, whatever you can name. The amount of attention his Supra gets, I'm talking, we have people, at least 10 cars per day that come stop in our parking lot just to take a picture of his Supra, and it amazes me.
And that comes back to the modding, right? That's that
100%.
personification of this is my style of Supra, and that's what I want the Supra to look like. And I'm telling you, I didn't even like them until I drove his, and now I'm like, I know this is gonna rub a lot of these Toyota Supra boys, fanboys like the wrong way. To you, that Supra is great. Stop judging it.
No, Supras are, man, like you said, with the whole BMW collab. I mean, I've always been a BMW guy. My first car was a BMW. And knowing that the interior of a Supra was the exact same as a 3 Series, it did put me off big time. And Supras, like you said, it was never even in consideration of.
And we prejudged it like everybody else.
And after finally driving one and being in it and seeing the way it looks after you add. And it's
you see the potential now. You see the potential. Yeah.
It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he just had some side skirts, diffuser,
front lip,
lowering springs. Oh yeah, there's a tune. Don't tell that to your manufacturer because he bought it from a Toyota. They didn't even tell him it was tuned. But no, Supra is definitely one of the top cars. I personally love them, especially for the price point. I mean, you're paying 50, 60 grand, and it's so much money for the.
It's so much car for the money, and I'm telling you, like, it's parked outside next to his GT and my Porsche right now, and it looks just as good. It looks great, you know. So
look at that big smile on his
face. Yeah. No, it's a lot of car for the money, man. Okay,
sounds good. I want to talk about Corvette Z06s. Right now, so I actually bought the C8 when they very first came out. I am absolutely in love with them. I've always wanted a Corvette as a kid. It was just like a American dream car. You know, when we first moved here, and whenever you saw someone driving a Corvette, it just created an image of a successful person to me. Therefore, I went and bought a C8 when they first came out. I am absolutely in love with that car. The C7s, not so much, just because of the fishtails on them. I mean, the power you're giving me, you're kind of restricting me by telling me it's not safe to go that fast. But with the mid-engine on a C8, I mean, I think it was a phenomenal car. I unfortunately sold mine. I regret it till this day. I had it in Matrix Gray. I still have the little piece that they sent me.
The plaque
with the car. I still have it. But the Z06s, that's where it's at right now. They just came out. I'm trying to get my hands on one. So if anyone is selling a Z06, please come see me because I want to buy one. I want to know your opinion on that because right now the markup on those Z06s is anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 over MSRP, which is mind-blowing because that means you're paying Lamborghini money for a Z06.
Which is not.
Do you think it's worth it?
Hell no.
I'm on board with you on that.
Because at that point, that's what made the car so great because the level of performance it gave you, but it was
half the price.
Affordable
Price. Yeah, affordable now,
So when you take that car and now you put it to supercar price, like I'd much rather go buy a Huracan at that price point. Right. Not because I think it's a better car, but I just much rather go buy it. I'd much rather buy the F12 at that price point. You
Facts.
know, I'll much rather buy the 458 at that price point. So I think Chevy is like shooting itself in the foot by allowing this to happen because I almost bought a Corvette, but why I didn't is because they tried to mark it up 40 grand over, and I just wasn't willing to do that.
So. No, I paid over for mine too. I think I paid about 25 over. At that time, I thought it made sense, but honestly, I mean, markups on any car right now, and you know, I'm in the dealership business, so I'm looking at cars on a daily basis. I think this over MSRP has become a new phenomenon, and I think dealers love it because what can they do? They just take your orders, and you give them a refundable deposit, whatever, $1,500, $2,000, and you're a guaranteed buyer when the car comes. I do think, personally, manufacturers are restricting their supply for this to continuously happen, creates a demand. There's a lot of investors that are coming out to buy these cars now because they see these markups. Yep. And as much as you think that manufacturers don't want them to do this, they do.
They do. They're getting more money
because it brings them more buyers.
Right.
And those buyers for a manufacturer, a buyer could be a consumer, a reseller, an investor. It could be any, as long as they're selling their units. Like you said about Lifetime, they're looking at numbers, right? Same goes with Mercedes and other brands that are doing the same thing. I don't think it's going away, especially on these highly sought out cars for it. And you're gonna hear, and it's not gonna be across the board for every car. There's gonna be specific models, makes and models of every year that it's gonna be over MSRP, and there are gonna be people that buy it. We had a 2023 Range Rover in here I think we were one of the first ones in Houston that had it. We sold it for $75,000 over sticker.
That's crazy.
And guess in how many days? 24 hours. I'm talking, I had the car show up in my showroom. Within the next day, it was gone. And let me tell you who bought that car for me. Range Rover. A Range Rover dealership bought the same car that another Range Rover dealership sold.
Right.
So in reality, if you think about it, it's just all floating around.
And the reason why Range Rover bought it again is because when it's a brand new car, they can't do a markup. But when they buy a used vehicle, which is pre-registered, even though it has 0 miles, but it's been registered once, now they can sell it for market price, right? So they're doing that, you know what I mean? And, you know, we say that it's going to be only like, you know, specific models like you're saying. Right now, I'm looking for a brand new Sequoia, okay? A Toyota Sequoia. And the dealership straight up telling me to my face, we're going to charge you 15% markup. 15% markup on a freaking Sequoia, bro. Sequoias used to be to a point where they would come to you and be like, we'll give you 10,000 off, 5,000 off, you know what I mean? Off MSRP, and now they want 15% on top of it.
I think so, that's going to go away on these regular cars.
I hope so,
soon.
yeah.
It's going to go away very soon, but on these high exotic cars.
They're going to keep it limited. They figured out the strategy of the Yeezys and the the Jordans.
We're from Pakistan. Back home, every single car that is sold, there's always a premium there. That's what they call it. They call it owned there, but it means premium.
Yep.
They charge a premium over every sticker, and it's been like that since I've known. And some of my uncles back home, they were like, you guys are doing the same thing here? That's interesting. I'm like, yeah, we're doing it. Like,
because they would buy cars as investments over there, right? They don't buy cars as, even though they're driving it, they're like, yeah, so what? Because they'll put like big money up front because they know like by the time they're ready to sell it, they'll get their money back.
And more.
It never goes down.
I do have 2 closer questions for you. What's one question that you wished I asked you, and what would you have answered? Is there something you want to share with the audience, that a question I may have missed that you think would be really valuable to my audience? Put him in a toughie here.
Yeah, it's a tough.
No, but I'd rather ask you a question that I thought that wasn't asked. So I wanted to know, man, because you're at Alphaland, right? There's, like we said, it's all about influencers over there, and you work out with most of them, right? Because you're the head lead over there and everything. What is that experience like? Because I know there got to be a lot of pressure because they have their own, now they feel entitled, right? Like, don't talk to me this way. I'm this guy or that guy. And I'm sure not all of them are like that, but I know some of them are, right? Because they come with huge followings, and I see them on your page all the time. How is that? How is that working around? Man, this is the focus of our work. Let's not focus on your social presence here.
So I'm going to condense this answer, make it real quick. I'm older, so this is not my first rodeo. So here's one thing that I understand. We got a bunch of great people there. It's a big influencer community, but I also understand being an influencer does not always equate to business.
Correct.
So you can have 1 million followers, that don't mean you have $1 million.
Absolutely.
So I understand how to separate that very quickly. So do you get that? Yes. Is it just at Alphaland? No. You get that everywhere. With influencers, but at the end of the day, like I tell my trainers, we are business people. So would you rather have 500,000 followers, or would you rather have $500,000? I'm
right.
going to show you how to scale your business so you can grow. So just because you have influence don't mean
right.
And I'd much rather be.
And that's a tough conversation to have, right? Because just like you said, in every business we have this issue, right? Even every now and then we have to work with some influencers, and it's like, man, I gotta act like this dude's a celebrity. You know what I mean? And I gotta do it, and I can't do it because you know what? You're right. You know what? I have a business that I'm making money off of. I probably got more money in the bank account, but how do I translate to this person? It's hard to do. It's hard to communicate that, right? So it's just that's what I wanted to know.
That's very interesting. But I like your analogy though, that followers don't translate
into money, right?
That's very interesting.
If you guys don't know how many times I've heard bro, you just a trainer.
Yeah, see.
Yeah. It's just like, okay.
Right.
And they sit back and they watch, and it's like, wow, what is the deal with him?
Right.
How is this guy has 3,000 followers. I get 300,000 followers.
Yeah.
I'm still living with my mom.
No, but vice versa. As you said, since we're talking about dollars and stuff like that, right? Apart from just, we focus on fitness a lot. Apart from that, do you have other investments?
Yes. So real quick, we're getting ready to open our second med spa. We do Botox and fillers. A lot of people don't even know I do that.
Right.
Invested heavily into the crypto space. Getting our asses handed to us.
Oh yeah, we're all in the same boat. We were flying high a couple of years ago.
It is what it is. And then we're probably getting ready would like to get into some development here real soon. I got a mentor,
real estate development.
Real estate development. I got a mentor that's in the stock market real heavy, and he's kind of taught me how to do the stock market. So I keep myself preoccupied.
What do you see? What are your 5-year goals?
5-year goals is to travel, 100% travel.
If there's one place you could be in the world, where would you be?
God, that's a hard one.
Because there's a lot of places.
I really want to go to Tokyo.
Tokyo?
I really want to go to
that's
Tokyo.
a good one.
I really
Me too.
want to go to Egypt, and I really want to go to Dubai.
Nice. I have been to Dubai. Dubai's dope.
Dubai is cool. Dubai is really, really cool. It's all about.
Overrated,
I personally look. Dubai is great and all. I just think it's overrated. Dubai as a country, the best analogy is a spoiled child. All right.
With unlimited amount of money.
With a limited amount of money. That's what it is. A spoiled child. Like, if this country has that, I want it too. Let's make a bigger one. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. And the other problem with Dubai is, no matter what you have, you're still not big enough because there's the guy next to you is going to make you feel this small. It's just it. You know, so it's a lot of money over there, man. It's crazy.
Well, Tai-Wan, we're going to be winding down here. I just want my listeners to know where can they find you online if they are interested in any of your endeavors. Go ahead and share your Instagram with us or anywhere else that you would like them to find you.
The easiest place to find me is Instagram, first_Gen1. That's how you contact me.
And can you tell us about your Apex profile that had like 200 some thousand?
Oh yeah.
Long story short, it's a guy that hacked into one of my friend's account. He reached out to me through DMs through my friend account and asked me for money, and I played along with it. And I'm like, how much do you need? The guy was like, send $300, click this link X, Y, and Z. And I said, would you like me to send my social security number?
But tell them what he's doing now.
3 days after that is when my account got hacked. So I would imagine it, he had a vendetta, went after me, hacked the account, and now he watches my stories on First Gen from the True Apex account.
Well, if you're watching
that's a
today,
troll, bro.
Watch us on Private Club Motors page as well because Tai-Wan's with us. Tai-Wan, thank you so much for taking your time out. We had a pleasure talking to you. I wish we had more time because I feel like we can talk.
Oh, we can talk for hours, man.
And,
this was great.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. We really enjoyed having you. As always, Shaz, you're going to be seeing Shaz on our episodes from here on out. He's going to be our co-host. Hopefully he's on time next time.
I'm going to try to do my job.
And thank you all for tuning in. Like always,
Thank you.
PCM After Hours Podcast. We'll see you next time.